Hello, 9th standard Cbse children. Have a good day. Have a nice day. Today we are going to do video number 14 as continuation of our lesson chapter 13. Why do we fall ill? Part 2. Right. So we have been learning introductory portion as health is a state of well-being. Health is wealth. Yeah. So we say the well-being of our body is dependent upon the proper functioning of its cells and tissues. I repeat, the well-being of our body is dependent upon the proper functioning of its cells and tissues. All our body parts and activities are greatly interconnected. All our body parts and activities are greatly interconnected. So, any malfunctioning and dysfunction of any body part can affect the entire body. What happens? So, any dysfunction of body part can affect the entire parts of the body. So, when we are healthy, we are able to perform our physical, mental and social functions well. If we are normal, we can do our work, is it not? Activities without any harm, is it not? Without any disturbance otherwise. Our physical and social environment plays important role in maintaining good health. I hope you understand this. So now in addition to the personal hygiene, we talk about personal hygiene. Yeah? In addition to personal hygiene, public cleanliness should be maintained to ensure that we remain healthy. Public cleanliness should be maintained to ensure that we should remain healthy. I hope you understand this. So this is just introduction as the second part where we are going to talk about the diseases. Diseases normally we learned as acute and chronic diseases. Acute disease will occur suddenly and chronic disease it will be for a long time. Otherwise we say prolonged occurrence of the disease is called acute diseases. That we have learned, I think. Clear? So we have learned disease and its causes. We are just learning. Last video we have just started. We say when there is a disease, either functioning of one or more systems of the body will change for the worse. These changes give rise to symptoms and signs of disease. So where we need to know what is sign, what is symptom. Yeah. Symptom of a things are the things we feel that it's not correct. I hope you follow. So when we have a headache, we may have cough, we may have loose motion, we have wound with the pus. These are all symptoms. These indicate that there may be a disease. At the same time, when we have a headache, it may just mean that examination of stress or very rarely it may mean meningitis. Meningitis is inflammation of the brain membrane. As I said, brain will have 3 layers: outer dura mater, inner pia mater and middle arachnoid membrane. And signs of a disease are what physicians will look for on the basis of symptoms. I repeat, signs of a disease are what physicians will look for on the basis of symptoms. And signs will give little more definite indication that what the person is suffering from. Then the physicians will get laboratory test. Labல போய் டெஸ்ட் பண்ணுவோம் இல்லையா, பிளட் டெஸ்ட்டோ இல்லைன்னா வேற ஏதாவது டெஸ்ட் எடுக்கணும் இல்லையா. So that will give the correct disease further. I hope you understand. So you should know what are signs and disease, symptoms. You should know the difference between disease and symptoms. I hope you understand. So then we learn about acute and chronic diseases. Yeah? Where acute and chronic diseases have different effect on our health. Any disease that causes poor functioning of some part of the body will affect our health. Bookla irukradam, page number 178. This is because all functions of the body are necessary for being healthy, but an acute disease which are over very soon will not have time to cause major effect on general health. It will occur immediately. Well, example, think about a cough and cold, which all of us have from time to time. Yeah? Now, at the same time, there are no lasting effect on our health. So, immediate the cure. Yeah? Same time, when we have if we get infected with a chronic disease such as tuberculosis of the lungs, then being ill over years, that makes us to lose weight and feel tired all the time. So normally, in short, we say acute which occurs suddenly. For 2-3 days and then it can be cured easily. Whereas prolonged for example, tuberculosis, diabetes, ரொம்ப நாளா இருக்கும். அப்புறம் தான் அது வந்து இருந்துட்டே இருக்கிறது இல்லையா? அதுதான் chronic diseases. I hope you understand. Acute diseases are the diseases lasting for a short period of time, and chronic disease lasts for longer period as much as lifetime. I hope you follow this. Then sign of a disease are most important because symptoms do not specify the disease, but through the sign, the disease can be diagnosed easily. இதுவும் உனக்கு தெரிஞ்சிருக்கணும். I hope you follow this. Now, textbook for example கொடுத்துருக்கு. Pick out the acute and chronic disease. என்ன சொல்றது? Acute disease that lasts for only very short period. இங்க example கொடுத்திருக்கிறது வந்து common cold. Whereas chronic disease, இது வந்து Japanese encephalitis. Encephalitisனா இந்த brain வந்து இந்த head வந்து அப்படியே மண்டை பெருசா இருக்கிறது. அது encephalitis. சரியா? And tuberculosis. These are all chronic diseases. I hope you understand. Then we talk about then we are talking about acute and chronic disease சொல்லியாச்சு. Infectious and non-infectious diseases படிப்போம். அடுத்தது continuation and then causes of diseases. We are learning about causes of diseases. Okay? அதுல தான் it may be due to poor nourishment. என்ன சொல்லிருக்கு? Infection comes from one reason might be that baby is not healthy. As a result, it might be more likely to have disease when exposed to risk. நம்ம textbookல page 179. சரியா? And then it is not well nourished or does not have enough food. So lack of good nourishment becomes a second cause of the disease. Lack of good nourishment becomes a second cause of the disease. Right? Then it is also possible that the baby has some genetic differences. Okay? And without pathogen, genetic difference or the poor nourishment alone would not lead to loose motion. I hope you understand. So you should know the causes of the diseases, right? So this is for introduction, where we will continue further with the lesson chapter 13, video number 14 as why do we fall ill part 2. We'll just continue. Okay? Just listen, understand the lesson, right? We'll just continue. Hello, 9th standard Cbse children. Have a nice day. I hope you are doing well for the exam preparation is going on well. Today we are going to do video number 10 as continuation of chapter 13, why do we fall ill, and part 3. Video 8, part 1, introduction of the lesson, why do we fall ill, and video 9, continuation of the lesson as why do we fall ill, and part 2, now this is part 3, why do we fall ill, where we are going to learn about infectious and non-infectious diseases. That is, we have already learned as communicable and non-communicable diseases. We will learn one by one. Now, first one, what are the causes of diseases? Disease, which is something discomfort, something discomfort. So here, causes of diseases, there are many levels of causes. What are the examples? If there is a baby suffering from loose motion, we can say that cause of loose motion is an infection with the virus. So immediate cause of the disease when the virus. So virus came through, what is the possibility? Through drinking unclean water. This is one of the causes. Second one, the baby must have had unclean drinking water. So it is one baby that developed loose motion when other babies did not. They have no diseases, no loose motion. Whereas this child, this baby, as the baby drinks unclean water, the baby is suffering from loose motion. Normally we call it as diarrhea, right? Then one reason might be that baby is not healthy. Although that baby is prone to get any diseases easily. So lack of good nourishment becomes the second level cause of the disease the baby is suffering from. Further, why is the baby not well nourished? Maybe due to poor family condition, poverty, because from household which is poor, poverty. ரொம்ப ஏழப்பட்ட குழந்தையா இருக்கலாம், இல்லைன்னா சமயத்துக்கு சாப்பாடு கிடைக்காம இருந்திருக்கலாம். Okay, so it is also possible that baby has some genetic difference that makes it more likely to suffer from loose motion when exposed to such a virus. Without the virus, genetic difference or the poor nourishment, without virus, the genetic difference or poor, one line I missed it, without the virus, the genetic difference or the poor nourishment alone would not lead to loose motion. And the line missing, just understand. Without the virus or the the genetic difference or the poor nourishment alone would not lead to loose motions, but they do become contributory cause of the disease. The word line missing after page 179 in our textbook. Right? So why was there no clean drinking water? Because public services are poor, sanitation is very poor, where the baby's family are living. That is one of the reason. So it gives us reason for the diseases. First, poor nourishment, drinking unclean water. Then third one, it may be due to genetic differences. Okay. The next one, the diseases are as infectious and non-infectious diseases. Otherwise, we say communicable and non-communicable diseases. Diseases which are spread from an infected person to a healthy person through air, water, food, vectors, physical contact or sexual contact. They are as communicable diseases. Vectors na a carrier which is carrying the disease. Normally protozoans or flies, mosquito and under that female Anopheles mosquito causing malaria, Aedes aegypti causing dengue fever. Adella vector carrying diseases. Okay, so I repeat, infectious diseases or communicable diseases or diseases which spread from infected person to a healthy person through air, water, food, vectors, physical contact or sexual contact. Example, common cold, chickenpox, mumps, measles, typhoid, cholera, tuberculosis, malaria, AIDS, etc. There are different examples as communicable diseases given in our textbook. What are all? Common cold, chickenpox, mumps, measles, typhoid, cholera, tuberculosis, malaria, AIDS. Right? Whereas non-communicable diseases which are not spread from infected person to a healthy person. Example, beriberi, idella vitamin deficiency. Beriberi, rickets, scurvy, night blindness, diabetes, cancer, high blood pressure. What are all? I repeat, beriberi, rickets, scurvy, night blindness, diabetes, cancer and high blood pressure. Okay, and what are the causes of the diseases? As pathogens, the disease causing germs are called pathogens. The disease causing germs are called pathogens. What are all? Virus, fungi, bacteria, protozoan or any other worms. I repeat, pathogens like virus, bacteria, fungi, protozoans or any other worms. Any other worm na flatworm, roundworm, they are worms. Then poor health and undernourishment. Poor health and undernourishment. Undernourishment na the child is not eating balanced diet. It is called undernourishment. Malfunctioning of body parts. That any system in our body, when it is not functioning properly, that is called malfunctioning of body parts. Environmental pollution and genetic disorder. Environmental pollution surrounding our houses or in our street, wherever we are. The social well-being, environmental pollution and genetic disorders. So these are the causes of diseases. What are all? Pathogens like virus, bacteria, fungi, protozoan or worms. And poor health and undernourishment. Malfunctioning of body parts, environmental pollution and genetic disorders. I hope you are able to follow this. The next one, we are studying about infectious agents as communicable diseases. What are all? The agents which cause infectious diseases are called pathogens, or we say the disease causing germs are called pathogens. They are viruses, bacteria, fungi, protozoan and worms. The previous that we have tabulated. Viruses, what are the diseases? Common cold, influenza, measles, mumps, chickenpox, AIDS, hepatitis B. I repeat, common cold, influenza, measles, mumps, chickenpox, AIDS and hepatitis B. Whereas bacterial diseases are cholera, typhoid, tuberculosis, tetanus, anthrax and food poisoning. Normal viruses, there are 100 different viruses are present. Whereas cholera is caused by Vibrio cholerae. Typhoid is caused by Salmonella typhi. Tuberculosis, Mycobacterium tuberculosis. Tetanus, Bacillus species, and anthrax, Bacillus anthracis. Okay, and food poisoning, any disease which is affecting the digestive system that causes food poisoning. I hope you could follow this. So cholera, typhoid, tuberculosis, tetanus, anthrax, food poisoning, etc. Then fungi, it affects the skin. The psoriasis padipole, varicose, padachori, charange children, other skin infections. Protozoans, malaria, kala azar, amoebic dysentery, and sleeping sickness. Malaria, kala azar, amoebic dysentery, and sleeping sickness. Whereas worms, they are causing intestinal infections and elephantiasis. Intestinal infections and elephantiasis. I hope you are able to follow this. So this is a table where infectious agents and the diseases caused by them. I hope you understand. Then next one, this is just way of spreading the diseases. First of all, that boy is coughing, not closing the and then mosquito, and then contact. Here the toilet is not used properly. So idella infectious diseases, communicable diseases. Whereas here pathogen species and strain, just understand pathogen composition, host cell, how it is affecting, and then proteome organization, the protein which is affecting the disease causing main and the protein is how it is affecting, and you just ignore this, just go through and ignore this. The detailed so this is infectious diseases. The next one is airborne diseases caused by viruses. Communicable disease, it is airborne disease caused by viruses. What are all? Common cold, influenza, measles, and mumps. I repeat, common cold, influenza, measles, and mumps. Causative organism, common cold, rhinovirus, influenza, myxovirus, measles, rubeola virus, and again mumps, myxovirus, parotid. Normally, the mumps will affect the parotid gland in the cheek. Another, it is a salivary gland. There are 3 pairs of salivary gland we have studied. Adala parotid in the cheek. That when the parotid gland inflamed, it is causing the disease mumps. Okay, so myxovirus, parotid. And mode of transmission, how they are spread. That is mode of transmission. As droplet infection, ellathukkume droplet infection. Then tissue or the organ affected in our body, common cold respiratory tract, influenza respiratory tract, measles respiratory tract, mumps respiratory. There are airborne diseases carried through air. The symptoms body pain, fever, right? Only thing, common cold, running nose, sneezing. Influenza, sore throat, nasal discharge, and then respiratory congestion, that is breathing problem. Whereas measles, eruption of small red spots or rashes on the skin. Rashes, and then redness of eye, pneumonia, bronchitis. So now what are the symptoms of measles? Then mumps, it is caused by myxovirus, droplet infection, enlargement of parotid gland, movement of jaw becomes difficult. Sharia. This is airborne disease by viruses. Now next one, it is airborne diseases by bacteria. First virus, அடுத்தது bacteria, where tuberculosis, again Mycobacterium tuberculosis, diphtheria, Corynebacterium diphtheriae, whooping cough, Bordetella pertussis. Whooping cough, Bordetella pertussis. சரியா? Mode of transmission, எல்லாமே droplet infection. Tissue affected, again lungs, upper respiratory tract, அப்படின்னா nose and throat. Whooping cough வந்து full respiratory tract will be affected. Where symptom, persistent cough, chest pain, loss of weight and appetite. Whereas diphtheria, fever, sore throat, choking of air passage. Whereas whooping cough, mild fever, severe cough ending in woof. ஒரு மாதிரி சத்தமா கேவி கேவி விக்கி விக்கி இருமறது தான் whooping cough. Okay. The next one, it is waterborne disease by viruses as poliomyelitis, poliovirus, hepatitis A, HIV virus and acute diarrhea, rotavirus. Mode of transmission, droplet infection, hepatitis வந்து contaminated food and water, acute diarrhea contaminated food and water. Whereas tissue affected, polio க்கு வந்து central nervous system, hepatitis க்கு வந்து inflammation of the liver and acute diarrhea, it is intestine. I repeat, tissue affected வந்து இதுல important கேப்பேன், question கேப்பேன். Poliomyelitis, central nervous system, hepatitis A, inflammation of the liver, acute diarrhea, intestine. Whereas symptoms, polio க்கு வந்து paralysis of limbs, hepatitis A, nausea, anorexia, acute fever and jaundice. Main jaundice the hepatitis A virus. And acute diarrhea, vomiting, fever, watery stools with mucus. அப்படின்னா தண்ணியா motion போறது. அதான் watery stools with the mucus. I hope you are able to follow. Then prevention, SARS vaccine or oral polio vaccine, OPV expansion, oral polio vaccine is administered. Hepatitis A, prevention of food contamination, drinking chlorinated or boiled water, and you should keep your personal hygiene. And acute diarrhea, proper sanitation and your personal hygiene to be maintained. I hope you are able to follow this. So, என்ன சொல்றோம்? As disease caused by viruses, waterborne diseases are poliomyelitis, poliovirus, hepatitis A virus, HIV, and acute diarrhea, rotavirus. Are you clear? The next one, it is waterborne disease caused by bacterium. Bacteria, enalana, again cholera, acute diarrheal disease, and typhoid. It is also known as enteric fever. Typhoid is also known as enteric fever. So cholera, causative organism, Vibrio cholerae, typhoid, Salmonella typhi. Whereas mode of transmission, contaminated food, water, oral route and through houseflies. And houseflies வந்து நார்மலா என்ன சொல்லியிருக்கேன், இந்த குப்பை கணக்குல கார்பேஜில் வந்து நிறைய இந்த லார்வா ஆஃப் housefly maggots சொல்லுவோம்ல, அது வந்து இருக்கும். Whereas typhoid, food and water contaminated with feces of infected person through houseflies. Okay, and tissue affected intestinal tract. Symptom, இது symptoms கேட்பேன், காலராக்கும் typhoid otherwise called enteric fever க்கு symptoms கேட்பேன், படிச்சுக்கோ. Acute diarrhea with rice watery stools, vomiting, muscular cramps, nausea and dehydration. I repeat, acute diarrhea with rice watery stools, vomiting, muscular cramps, and nausea and dehydration. Whereas typhoid, high fever, weakness, abdominal pain, headache, loss of appetite, rashes on chest and upper abdomen. In the tabular column, that is airborne disease caused by virus and bacteria, waterborne disease caused by virus and bacteria. You should learn this table. Okay, in our textbook it is just mentioned about the diseases, but you should know the disease, causative organism, mode of transmission, tissue or the organ affected, symptom and prevention. I hope you could follow this. So here cholera, hygienic sanitary condition, intake of oral rehydration solution. In short, it is ORS. I repeat, hygienic sanitary condition, intake of oral rehydration solution, ORS. Whereas typhoid, it is preventing contamination of food by flies and dust, improvement of basic sanitation, treatment with antibiotic drugs. I hope you could follow this. So this is about the waterborne diseases. So here infectious disease and non-infectious diseases. அது வந்து உனக்கு பார்த்துக்கணும். Okay. And then in our textbook it is given about the few pictures where the diseases are caused. Okay. So here it is first one SARS. SARS na severe acute respiratory syndrome. I repeat, severe இது SARS, severe acute respiratory syndrome caused by SARS virus. நமக்கு ஒரு 4 or 5 yearsக்கு முன்னாடி சிங்கப்பூர்ல வந்து இந்த SARS virus இருந்தது. அது வந்து epidemic. நம்ம இந்த disease படிக்கிறது, we should know the 3 terms: epidemic, endemic and pandemic. I repeat, epidemic, endemic and pandemic. Epidemic na enadhu? A disease which is spread through a particular area. Endemic, disease spread in a local area. Pandemic, diseases spread all over the world. இப்போ நம்ம corona virus இருக்குல்ல அது. அந்த corona virus வந்து இப்போ what is that? Infective ranges have reduced, but still there is a social, என்ன சொல்றது, சொசைட்டிக்குன்னு ஒரு ரூல் இருக்கு, அட்மினிஸ்ட்ரேஷன் லெவல்ல, கான்ஸ்டியூஷன் லெவல்ல ஒரு ரூல் இருக்கு. இந்த பேண்டமிக் ஆக்ட்னு சொல்லுவாங்க. அது வந்து இட் ஷுட் ஒரு மாதிரி ஒரு 90 to 100% குறைஞ்சிருக்கணும். ஆனால் தான் that pandemic act will be released so that people can come to a normal life. அது வரைக்கும் இந்த கொரோனா பீரியட்னே தான் சொல்லிட்டு இருப்போம், லாக்டவுன். சரி, நம்ம தமிழ்நாட்டில் it has reduced heavily, but still we should take care of ourselves. Nobody will say do this, do that. நம்மளே பாதுகாத்துக்கணும் by keeping social distance and wearing face mask. சரியா? So we should remember 3 terms: endemic, epidemic and pandemic. The epidemic SARS இருந்தது சிங்கப்பூர்ல. What is the expansion? Severe acute respiratory syndrome. சரியா? And then next one, it is protozoan trypanosoma. இந்த இது வந்து இதுக்கு பேரு trypanosoma gambians. Trypanosoma gambians. It is affecting the RBC in the blood. I hope you could follow this. And then இது வந்து Staphylococci bacteria. The green வந்து Staphylococci bacteria. Staphyloனாக்க நிறைய குரூப்பா இருக்கிறது, காக்கை வந்து circle, spherical shape bacteria. That is also causing the diseases. I hope you understand. The next one. Why is it important that we think of these categories of infectious agents? நம்ம இப்போ படிச்சோம் இல்லையா pathogens as 4 types. ஏன் இது important அப்படின்னாக்க the answer is that these categories are important factors in deciding what kind of treatment to use. இப்போ வந்து we have all the 4 pathogens we know. அது வந்து எல்லாத்துக்கும் நம்ம எல்லா மருந்தே we cannot take. So to prevent the diseases there are different factors. Members of each one of these group, virus, bacteria and so on, have many biological characters in common. Same time, their size, shape, physiological functioning and all different. All viruses, for example, live inside the host cell, whereas bacteria very rarely do. Viruses can live only in the host cell and it can multiply and reproduce. Only then it is a living entity. Otherwise it is a non-living entity. So, bacteria and fungi multiply very quickly while worms multiply very slowly in comparison. என்ன சொல்றோம்? First, viruses, they live inside the host, bacteria will not. And then virus, bacteria and fungi will multiply fast, will reproduce. Multiplication is fast, whereas worms will multiply very slowly. That is the second reason for the treatment. Then taxonomically, all bacteria are closely related to each other than viruses. Viruses வந்து there are 100 different viruses. And they are not resembling each other. So taxonomically, classification wise, all bacteria are closely related to each other than viruses. Okay, this means that many important life processes are similar in the bacterial group but are not shared with the virus group. And as a result, drugs that block one of these life processes in one member of the group is likely of the group. Other, for example, if a virus common cold, we can just take medicine. Viral medicine common cold or crocino or saridana potunda tablet. Same time malaria it is caused by female Anopheles mosquito and the protozoan plasmodium species. Okay, adukku vandu இந்த drugs எல்லாம் ஒத்துக்காது. crocino இதுவும் antibiotics ஒத்துக்காது. It is a malarial drug. That means it is a drug normally quinine சொல்லுவோம்ல quinine taken from the bark of cinchona. Quinine, it is killing the different stages of the plasmodium. The development of plasmodium at different stages, that stages will be stopped the growth, stopping the growth, or the stages will be killed one by one. So adnalda in the definition, the treatment for the diseases are not same for all the pathogens. That is why it differs from the diseases. Treatment will differ from pathogen to pathogen. I hope you are following this. So, members of virus, bacteria have many biological character common. அதான் இப்ப சொல்லியாச்சு. எதெல்லாம் virus, bacteria and fungi will multiply fast. ஆனா worms வந்து will not multiply fast. அந்த மாதிரி சில differences and common characters are there. சரியா? So, viruses வந்து antibiotics இருக்காது. ஏன்னா virus will multiply faster and it will not maintain one form always. Whereas bacteria, when the cells multiply, ஒரு cell multiply ஆகும். So antibiotics cannot be given for viral diseases, whereas antibiotic drugs can be given for bacterial diseases. So medicinal use antibiotics. Whenever you fall ill, the doctor may give you some antibiotic tablets or capsule, or injection such as penicillin. Normally penicillin கொடுப்பா. But still the source of this medicine is microorganism. This medicine kill or stop the growth of the disease causing microbes. Such medicines are called antibiotics. These days, number of antibiotics are being produced from bacteria and fungi. Example, streptomycin, tetracycline and erythromycin. I repeat, streptomycin, tetracycline, erythromycin, etc. So these are all antibiotics. Now see this figure. This is penicillin. Normally, penicillin. Okay. All these orange ones are the spores from which the drugs are prepared. Okay. So the bacteria, name of the species and the Streptomyces griseus. The antibiotic prepared வந்து streptomycin. இது வந்து கொஞ்சம் மேல போயிருக்கணும். Antibiotic name வந்து streptomycin. Streptomyces griseus க்கு streptomycin. Whereas Bacillus subtilis, it is the drug antibiotic bacitracin is prepared from Bacillus subtilis. I repeat, the name of the species of bacteria Streptomyces griseus, where it is the antibiotic streptomycin is prepared, and Bacillus subtilis, where bacitracin, antibiotic bacitracin is prepared. I hope you could follow this. இது வந்து நார்மலா ஒரு பாக்டீரியம், actually இது வந்து ஒரு ஃபங்கல் குரூப், அந்த பென்சிலியம் நோட்டேட்டம்னு பண்ணுவோம் இல்லையா, ஃபங்கஸ் தானே, பென்சிலியம் கொனிடியோஸ்போர்ஸ் சொல்லுவோம், அது வந்து இது. Okay, then to maintain all this free from diseases, to have a healthy body, to free from diseases, normally we say we are healthy and disease free னு ரெண்டு டேர்ம் நம்ம போன வீடியோல படிச்சோம் இல்லையா. ஹெல்தினா we are free from diseases. ஆனால் sometimes the disease இருக்காது, but we may have some weaknesses இல்லையா. அதெல்லாம் இல்லாம to have a healthy mind, and health is wealth னு சொல்லுவோம். So to have, we should be physically fit, socially fit and mentally fit. Otherwise we say health is defined as physical, mental or emotional or psychological and social well-being. We should always maintain that capacity. So this is health is wealth. சரியா? So நம்ம இந்த why do we fall in chapters la so far we have covered pages 176, 177, 178, 179, 180, 81, 180, 81. இது வரைக்கும் 182ல இந்த இது 13.3.1 வரைக்கும் we have completed. We have some more portions to be discussed and completed. That we will continue in the next video session. I hope you are able to follow this. So we will continue in the next session. Have a good day. Thank you.